Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Happy new week. And welcome to the Astro Room. I am your host, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, your new favorite astrologer. If you are new to the channel, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. Speaking of this channel is everything tarot, astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. And speaking of content, head over to Instagram and hit that follow button. I've got loads of excellent daily content. Plus, I go live over there every Thursday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for live tarot readings by sign. All right. Hello. Thank you to everyone who is joining us right now. Let's let the good people over on Twitter know that we are live so they can head over here to the Astro Room to join us. All right. I feel like I need to take a breath. I think we all need to collectively take a breath. All right. Because we've been trudging through some intense energy. We're in the midst of eclipse season. At the time of this live, we are on the precipice of the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. So we are right in between eclipses right now. And let me tell you something, it is intense. It is intense. All right. Yeah. So typically I do a dedicated video, not a live, just a video that I upload about each moon, each new moon, each full moon. If you're new to the channel, I have this moon series where I do just that. I talk about each new moon and each full moon. Okay. And I had the best of intentions. When I tell you the best of intentions, I really had the best of intentions to get this video done for this full moon lunar eclipse, but it was just not working out. Like the energy was just crazy. It was really intense. And every day that I tried to do it, I just felt like I couldn't, right? And I feel like many of us have been feeling this way, especially over the last week. Like I said, the energy is intense. And it kind of requires you to just take a step back and sort of just be. A lot of times, eclipse energy, it's not the time to be doing. It's not the time to be trying. It's not the time to be pushing. It's the time to just be, okay? And so if you feel that way, definitely honor that feeling because eclipses are the universe's way of shifting things in our lives, right? We co-create with God. We co-create with spirit. And a lot of times as humans, we feel like we have to do the work. We feel like we have to do the heavy lifting. We feel like we have to do all the things and be action oriented. And there's definitely a time for action. But I feel like eclipse season, it's really about inaction. It's about being and it's about letting spirit, you know that phrase, Jesus take the wheel? Yeah, that is the essence of eclipse season. And what's interesting is that this particular eclipse, the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus, honey, this is about sitting back, getting your popcorn and seeing what unfolds. To say that it's total illumination is an understatement, okay? There's a lot of truths being revealed, a lot of things being uncovered, a lot of mysteries being solved, and all you need to do is just sit back and watch. So again, if you're feeling like you're trying, but you're not moving forward, if you feel like you're just exhausted, if you feel like you're experiencing either physical ailment or you're experiencing headaches, stomach aches, anything like that, honor those feelings and just rest. It's the eclipse at work. All right. So we've got a lot to discuss today because there's a lot going on this week. Like I said, I didn't get to do a dedicated video on the eclipse, but I'm going to speak about it extensively during this live. All right. So sit tight. You might want to get comfortable, get a drink, get some snacks. You might even want to take out a pen and paper to note down or to take down some important notes because there's a lot of interesting things going on this week. All right. But of course, as always, housekeeping first. So if you're joining me here on the live, please don't forget to hit that like button on your way in and say hello. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Let's get to know each other and be a little friendly. All right. Second of all, if you are interested in getting your weekly horoscope, I have this service where you get your weekly horoscope via text every Monday. And if you are interested, just text ZODIAC to the number 855-826-5544. The information is going to be in the description box below in case you didn't hear this or see this just now, but it's just a little snippet of your horoscope every Monday morning. All right. So if you're interested in that, check out the information in the description box below. And as always, if you are new to astrology, or even if you've been studying astrology and you need a refresher, you'll definitely want to download my free Astrology Basics cheat sheet. Astrology is full of technical jargon. It takes a while it's a science. It is a science. It also includes a little divination and spirituality as well. But by and large, the basics and the foundation of astrology is science and some math. All right. So it takes some studying, right? And so in order to start learning astrology, I put together this cheat sheet that covers the 4 basic pillars of astrology: the planets, the houses, the signs, and the aspects. All right. So it's just an 11-page PDF document that gives you the quick and dirty on everything you need to know about these pillars of astrology so you can start studying and committing things to memory. But what I love about this the most is that you can immediately use this information to start reading and understanding your natal chart. Now, your natal chart is the blueprint to your life. And if you're not familiar with how to read a natal chart, it can be very confusing. There's a whole bunch of signs, symbols, numbers, and lines. And this is sort of the basic information that you'll need in order to start learning that. All right. So definitely, if you're looking to cop that, the link is in the description box below. So don't forget to check it out. Also, wow, I just lost my train of thought for a second. Oh, also, definitely don't forget to hit that notification bell and that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm actually in the middle of filming a series on how to read your natal chart. The first video on the planets is already out, but I'm coming out with 4 other videos on how to read your natal chart. So hit that notification bell so you get notified when those go live. All right. So again, it's like when I get into the astrology of this week, you'll understand a little better why I feel like I have to take this collective sigh, because I'm not going to lie to you, this week is going to be challenging. Okay. We've got some challenging energy that we've just got to work through this week. And I'm not even just talking about the eclipse. We've got Saturn as a major player this week, and Saturn is all about obstacles, challenges, and delays. All right. So some of our best laid plans may just get delayed. There may be a monkey wrench thrown into them. We're going to be feeling it's a week of frustration. Like, I can't even really lie to you. It's going to feel like you're trudging through the mud. You may feel like you just want to get up and go and start running and just doing things and taking action. And this week is going to be the week where it's like, no, you either got to sit your ass down or you gotta take it real slow. Okay. So you may find that this week will be a little frustrating. And again, it's not just the eclipse. The way that the astrology is set up this week, we've got a lot of interesting energy to sort of get through. Okay. But we've also got we've got a very lucky day this week. All right. And we also have this opportunity to tap into our creativity. So when I say that this is going to be an interesting week, it's really an understatement, because the energy is sort of going to feel all over the place. A lot is going to be revealed to us. Many of us are going to be trying to get forward and met with obstacles and delays. Other of us are going to find that this week is hella creative and we can really tap into our creativity and our spirituality. So it's kind of a mixed bag this week. All right. So as always, let's get into the Learn Astrology section. And if you're new, if this is your first time watching any of my weekly astrology forecasts, this is the section where I teach you something about astrology. And typically what I teach you is it correlates directly with what's going on in the week. So everything that you're going to learn now is happening this week, so you can sort of see it play out in real time and really get an understanding of what I'm trying to teach you. All right. So this week, we are talking about Saturn, sextiles, and Neptune. So we've got 2 planets and we have an aspect. So first up, we've got Saturn. And as I just alluded to before, Saturn is one of the major players this week in terms of the astrology. And Saturn represents obstacles and challenges. It also represents delays. It's indicative of time. and it represents karma, which is cause and effect. All right. So whenever Saturn is in the mix, things get a little tough. It's sort of the school of hard knocks. Saturn is it's about putting obstacles in your path and challenging you in order to test you. Right? And in testing you, it helps you build character. So it's not just the universe throwing a monkey wrench in your plans for no reason. Typically, Saturn tests us with respect to something that we need to know or an energy that we need to embody, that we need to grow into. And Saturn provides those tests so we can build that character, so we can build those skills that Saturn is trying to give us. Okay. And so typically you'll find that you'll either be limited in some way, you'll be restricted in some way. Anytime you have Saturn in the mix, plans don't go as planned. Things may take longer. It's almost like driving on the highway. It's like you left your house in just enough time to get to your destination. You're almost running slightly late. And then you get on the highway and there's a huge accident, right? And I'm not even talking about someone just blew out a tire. I'm talking about a whole 10-car pileup, right? And it's going to take you another hour to get to your destination. And you have to take a detour and it's all over the place. That is sort of the essence of Saturn energy, okay? Now, you know how sometimes you'll hear that phrase, rejection is actually your protection? That's sort of another way of viewing Saturn energy. A lot of the times the plans that we have may not be for our highest good. And it's like the universe is going to throw a monkey wrench in it so that you take a detour, which is actually the route that you needed to take. All right. Saturn energy sucks. I'm not even going to lie about that. But it's necessary. Right. And like I had put on the screen before, Saturn also represents karma. And in the way that I define karma is cause and effect. I don't assign any morality to karma. It's just you did something before and now the effect of what you did is going to happen, right? Cause and effect. So you may find that things done in the past come back around. The effects of what you've done in the past come to pass. So that's why sometimes Saturn can get a bad rep, because people think, Saturn is really kicking them in the ass. Saturn is unduly difficult, or Saturn just tests them in a way that's really uncomfortable. All right. And so again, we've got a couple of Saturn transits this week. So brace yourselves because things are going to be a little frustrating. All right. So next up, we have a sextile. Now, a sextile is one of the planetary aspects. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you definitely need to download my Astrology Basics cheat sheet because it talks all about this. But a sextile is when planets are 60 degrees apart. It's generally a positive aspect, and it signifies latent talents, opportunities, and assistance. All right. What I love about sextiles is, like I said, it's a positive aspect. And it provides opportunity, okay? It's not effortless like a trine. When you have a trine, things flow effortlessly without any effort, clearly, on your part. A sextile can be positive if you take advantage of the opportunity. So it requires a little bit of effort on your part. It's almost this energy of, I wouldn't say cooperation, but it's this energy of taking action to get a positive result, okay? And sextiles also denote talents, and particularly talents that you didn't know you had or talents that have been lying dormant. So especially in your natal chart, notice where or if you have any sextiles, and that'll tell you what talents you may not be taking advantage of or what talent you may not even be aware of, all right? But by and large, sextiles are all about positive opportunities if you make the effort, okay? And then last but not least, we have Neptune. And Neptune is all about dreams and fantasies, okay? Neptune signifies creativity, universal love, and spirituality, all right? So like I said before, the astrology of this week is like a mixed bag. We have the eclipse, which is bringing, fire and brimstone, basically. Then we have these squares to Saturn, which is going to cause things to be delayed, be a little bit frustrated, etc. But we also have a couple of trines to Neptune. And this is going to be this energy of escapism, right? Remember I said this week is going to be a little challenging. These trines to Neptune are going to allow us to escape, and we can escape via our creativity. We can escape via our spirituality. It provides sort of a safe haven for us in the midst of this chaos and in the midst of this sort of intense energy. So many of us are going to be able to tap into our creativity, doing some creative activities, or doing a creative hobby may give you relief and may relieve some stress from everything else that's going on this week. For some, this may be tapping into your spirituality. You may find that meditating, I think meditating is going to be a really big one, definitely towards the weekend, in terms of quieting your mind and finding an escape and quieting all that noise and all of the distractions that are going on this week. So again, it's definitely a mixed bag. Interesting energy to get through, but we've been through worse and we'll definitely get through this week. All right. So now let's get into the highlights and see exactly what is going on. All right. So first and foremost, we have what I like to call total illumination, which is that full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. All right. And this is a total lunar eclipse, hence why I call it total illumination. This is like shining a huge spotlight on certain things, okay? Now you're going to want to look at where Taurus is in your chart. That is the area of life that's going to be illuminated, all right? Then we have what I like to call obstacles and challenges. And so we're going to have Mercury, Venus, and the Sun all are going to be squaring Saturn at different points this week, okay? So delays, things not going as planned, everything that I talked about before is basically what's going to be going on this week. And I'll get into the nitty gritty as we take the week day by day. And then finally, I have what I call dreams and fantasies. And this relates to Neptune because this week we have Venus and Mercury trine Neptune. Okay. Now trine is a positive aspect and it's effortless. It doesn't require any action on your part. Things just sort of fall into place beautifully and harmoniously. So for many, this could be your spirituality. For others, this could be relationships. A relationship could really be your safe haven from everything that's going on this week. But by and large, these Neptune trines are going to allow us a reprieve and an escape from sort of the chaotic and frustrating energy that we're experiencing otherwise. All right, so let's get into the week and see what we have. So today on Monday, we have Venus square Saturn, and then we have the moon moving into the sign of its exaltation, Taurus. Then tomorrow, Tuesday, we've got that lunar eclipse in Taurus, Mercury opposite Uranus, and the Sun conjunct Mercury. This is actually going to be a positive day. Well, it's going to be a day with positive aspects. Let's just say that. Then on Wednesday, we have the Sun opposite Uranus and the moon in Gemini. On Thursday, we've got Mercury square Saturn and Venus trine Neptune. Thereafter, on Friday, we've got the Sun square Saturn and the moon moving into its home sign of Cancer. Saturday, we've got Mercury trine Neptune, and we close out the week on Sunday with Venus sextile Pluto. So like I said, it's a lot going on this week, but let's just take it step by step and see exactly what we have. So as always, we start with Monday, and that would be today. All right, so as you can see by the chart and by the symbols in those red circles, we've got Venus square Saturn. So Venus is that light blue glyph at the bottom of the chart, and Saturn is going to be in the midway section on the right-hand side of the chart in maroon. Then we also have the moon moving into Taurus as well tonight. All right, so let's get into it. Venus square Saturn. All right. Not the best kind of transit, especially for relationships. And even if you're not dealing with a relationship issue, this transit lends itself to just feeling down in the dumps, feeling stressed out, feeling isolated. Even if you're in a relationship, you may not feel that cohesive kind of energy. It sort of puts I'm not going to say it puts a wedge in your relationships, but it sort of allows for some breathing room in your relationships, which can cause you to feel a bit isolated, even if you have a partner. Now, of course, with Saturn, like I mentioned before, it's delays, it's obstacles, and this could definitely be in your love life, okay? And so that can cause a considerable amount of stress, right? Could also cause like other relationship problems, such as like emotional withdrawal or a lack of communication. Again, there's this feeling of isolation. And so you may be trying to connect with your partner or vice versa. And it's just not latching on. Like it's not, there's a disconnect there. Okay. Now, Venus also represents money. So you may find that today and even going into the week, money is a little tight. If you were expecting money to come in, it may be delayed. It may not be the amount that you had hoped for. It can just be like, all in all, just frustrating when it comes to money. All right. Now, with this particular transit, I'd say any sort of transit having to do with Saturn also has to deal with our duties and responsibilities, okay? And this is going to be one of those weeks where you feel less than inclined to really take care of your responsibilities and your obligations. Those obstacles and delays, especially if you have to do something for someone and you're finding that it's a little more difficult to do it, you're definitely going to feel like throwing in the towel and being like, you know what, I'll do this later, or forget it, I'm not even going to do this at all. And that's not, you definitely don't want to do that because remember I said Saturn is all about karma. It's cause and effect. So what you don't do now is going to come back later and probably bite you in the ass. So regardless of how difficult it may seem, regardless of whatever challenges you're facing, you're going to want to handle your responsibilities, especially with Venus square Saturn. If you have responsibilities related to loved ones, whether it's a partner, whether it's a family member, even whether it's friends, if you have an obligation, try your best to stick to it, okay? Venus square Saturn can also be a situation where someone sort of leans on you, perhaps for emotional support, or maybe even any sort of support. Could be financial, could be emotional, whatever. And because you feel like things are sort of in flux in your life and you feel like things are sort of frustrating for you, you may be inclined to not want to help this person or not be a shoulder for them to lean on. If this is someone that you have a close relationship with, if this is someone that is close to you, try your best to be there for them, right? And I feel like with this particular, what I'm saying right now, I feel like this really applies to like the golden rule, especially if the shoe was on the other foot and you really needed emotional support or you really needed some sort of support at this time. You wouldn't want someone to just abandon you. You wouldn't want someone to just neglect you, right? This doesn't mean for everybody, right? This is not saying that regardless of what's going on in your life, you should be there for everybody. I feel like Venus square Saturn is really about people that are closest to you, people that you value in your life, or people that are valuable to you, right? Try your best to be there for them, of course, to the extent that you can. Right? This is not about breaking your back. This is not about going above and beyond. And trust and believe, with the way the astrology is set up, it may be hard for you to go above and beyond for this person at this time. But I feel like even just the littlest thing that you can do will go a long way. And remember, Saturn is all about karma, cause and effect. So the good deed that you do right now is going to come back to you. All right. So keep that in mind. Then we have the moon moving into the sign of its exaltation, which is Taurus. Okay. Now, when I say the sign of its exaltation, anytime a planet is in a sign, it has a certain status. When a planet is in its home sign, that planet is comfortable. Just like when you're at home, right? You feel comfortable. You can walk around naked. You could leave stuff all over the place. It's your home, right? You're comfortable. When a planet is in the sign that's opposite its home, it's called being in detriment. That's like being in someone else's home, right? It's not your home. You can't do as you please, so you're not exactly comfortable. Then planets can also be in a sign that treats it really well. And that's what's known as its sign of exaltation. That's like someone throwing a house party for you in your honor at their house. So you walk in and it's like they roll out the red carpet for you. You are the guest of honor. You are the star of the show. So you get extra special treatment. Now, when a planet is in a sign that is opposite its exaltation, it's called being in fall. And when a planet is in the sign of its fall, it's like being at someone's house that don't like you. Okay, you're mad uncomfortable. You can't do anything. It's really, you're debilitated. All right. So hopefully that stuck and hopefully you guys got that. But getting back on track. The moon is in its sign of exaltation, which is Taurus. And when the moon is in Taurus, all you want to do is chill. This is Netflix and chill. This is being in your sweats and being lazy. All you want to do is be comfortable and have peace, right? This is one of those, when the moon is in Taurus, anything that's out of your comfort zone is like a no-go. You don't want to do it. You don't want to be bothered. It's really just a night to chill. And this is extremely true given the fact that the moon is getting ready to eclipse, okay? Chill out. Don't do anything. Watch some movies, talk to people on the phone, play video games, whatever you can do to relax, just do it. This isn't the night for action. This isn't the night to try to do all of the things. Just chill out. You'll be happy that you did. All right. And then we move on to Tuesday. All right. So Tuesday is an interesting day. All right. We've got that eclipse. You'll see the sun on the left in that circle on the left-hand side, you'll see the sun and Mercury. And then in the red circle on the right-hand side, you'll see the moon and Uranus. Okay. So we've got the lunar eclipse. The sun is going to be opposite the moon. Then we've got Mercury opposite Uranus. Mercury's right next to the sun. Uranus is right next to the moon. And then we have the sun conjunct Mercury. Both of those are on the left-hand side of the chart in that red circle. All right. So first things first, full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. All right. So it's going down at 6:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be at 16 degrees Taurus. Okay. Anytime you have an eclipse, it's like that lunar phase on steroids. A solar eclipse always happens at the new moon. So a solar eclipse is a new moon on steroids. A lunar eclipse always happens at the full moon. So a lunar eclipse is a full moon on steroids. Full moons generally either show you the culmination of things, like it signifies the ending of something, or it uncovers things. All right. And I don't know about you, but the things I have been seeing uncovered over the last couple of days has been absolutely phenomenal. The information I've been getting, the signs I've been seeing have been like neon billboards. If you guys have been experiencing anything like that, hit the chat. Let me know. If you're watching this on the replay, comment down below, because the tea that is being spilled with this full moon is stellar. Absolutely stellar. Okay. But here's the thing. So full moons are all about balance, right? Because the sun and the moon are in opposition. They're at different extremes. And it's all about finding a happy medium. Now, full moons happen on an axis, right? Because when the sun and the moon are opposite, they're in opposite signs. So we've got the sun in Scorpio. We've got the moon in Taurus, okay? And that Scorpio-Taurus axis is all about superficiality versus depth. It's about beginnings versus endings. And it's about life versus death, okay? Now, what's interesting about this full moon eclipse, it's sort of the opposite energy of the solar eclipse that we just had 2 weeks ago. The solar eclipse was new beginnings preceded by endings. This is going to be endings followed by new beginnings. There's this energy of renewal, of rebirth, of life and of death that is like we're right in the middle of it. It's like life and death are happening almost simultaneously. Now, the way that this full moon is working is that it is illuminating a lot. Because it is conjunct Uranus, a lot of what we're going to see is going to be really surprising, number one. Number two, because the moon and Uranus are in Taurus, think of it as unearthing things. So it's almost like whatever is being illuminated has probably been hidden for a long time or has been buried really deeply. As I told you, it's a full moon on steroids. So something could be 6 feet under and it's like coming to the surface and seeing the light of day. And you're like, where the hell did this come from? Like, what is this? It is illuminating things in a major, major way. All right. So the way that this is working, it's showing us things that we may need to get rid of. It's showing us things that we've either refused to see or, like I said, have been buried deep under the surface and are finally being unearthed. And in seeing these things, in understanding these things, in knowing the truth of these things, we can have a new beginning, perhaps minus these things. Because on the other end, we've got the sun conjunct Mercury, but they're both in Scorpio. This is being crystal clear on what you no longer need. Sun conjunct Mercury in Scorpio is all about knowing what you need to get rid of, being crystal clear on what bad habits you need to eradicate, of what people you need to move away from, of who you need to associate with and who you don't need to associate with. And when I say it's crystal clear, you're going to be crystal clear about this. And so on the one hand, you see what you no longer need. And on the other hand, you're seeing things that are going to lead you to where you need to go. So when I say it's total illumination, like, I mean just that. Venus is also in close proximity to the sun and Mercury. So for some, this is going to be relationships. And when I say relationships, I do not mean necessarily romantic relationships. Again, this all depends on where it's going down in your chart. This could be friendships. This could be family relationships. This could be work relationships. But the way that your relationships are structured, the underbelly of your relationships are going to be coming to the surface. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Let's say you have a romantic relationship and things are okay, but you've noticed certain little red flags in the past, but you kind of let it slide or whatever. And then at this full moon eclipse, you find out that your counterpart has some really deep emotional trauma. Maybe they went through something really crazy as a kid, or you might find out that this person is really a narcissist and this person is playing you or stringing you along. It's going to be shocking, right? It's going to shock you out of your comfort zone. But this gives you the information you need to let go of what you don't need so that you can make room for what you do need. Okay. The presence of Uranus is going to, whatever's going on, is going to be surprising. Like, expect the unexpected. Not just that, your insight and your intuition are probably going to be spot on. Uranus is all about our intuitive nature, okay? And so many of us are having intuitive nudges, flashes of insight, very vivid dreams that are showing us exactly what we need to see and telling us what we need to know. So do not count your intuition. Don't think that you're going crazy, or don't think that, oh, it's just a dream, it doesn't matter. If you're having vivid dreams right now, I can almost guarantee that you're experiencing or you're getting a lot of important downloads or messages at this time. All right. And this is getting us to move. I feel like ultimately this eclipse is getting us to move out of our comfort zones. Many of us have been accustomed to things being a certain way, to people acting in certain ways. And that's just been our mainstay. That's just how we're used to things. And this eclipse is showing us perhaps what we've been ignoring, or perhaps just what we've been blind to for quite some time. And again, it's getting us to move out of our comfort zones to where we ultimately need to be. Now, the sun and the moon, like, again, we've got the sun in Scorpio, we've got the moon in Taurus. Both of them are going to be square to Saturn, okay? This is important because Saturn is in Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about the future. So everything that's going on now is setting the foundation for the future, okay? Not only are you being urged to move in the direction of your destiny, you are being urged to structure a new future for yourself, okay? That's why you have to get out of your comfort zone, because this future that contains everything that you want, you're not going to find it in your comfort zone, and you're definitely not going to find it in things that haven't been for your highest good. And if it hasn't been for your highest good, this full moon lunar eclipse is going to put a huge spotlight on it. Again, it's to get you to move in the right direction so you can structure a new future for yourself. There's going to be a lot of letting go, okay? Because we've got Scorpio energy in the mix. We've got the sun, Mercury, and Venus in Scorpio. Letting go, it could be letting go of people. It could be letting go of things, right? It could also be letting go of certain mindsets that we've been holding. And I feel like if you are resistant to let go, whatever comes up at the full moon, it's going to be even more surprising, because it's almost like the universe may try to yank it out of your hands. All right. So for some, this eclipse can be very jarring with the presence of Uranus here. But if you are conscious, if you are aware, if you know what needs to be done, I feel like you're going to be able to get through this energy relatively successfully. Okay. This also, the last thing I'll say about this eclipse is that Taurus energy is all about building foundations, right? And so if you've been working on something, if you've been building a certain foundation, and again, it depends on where this is going down in your chart, this full moon is going to show you just how sturdy that foundation is. So if you've been doing the right things, and only you know what the right things are, there's no absolute truth when it comes to what is right. But if you've been doing the right things, if you've been diligent, if you've really been putting in the work and building value with what you've been trying to build, this is going to show you the fruits of your labor. Okay. And it's going to be probably pretty positive. But if you've been building something on a faulty foundation, if you've been skipping steps, cutting corners, not really doing good work in terms of whatever you've been building, this lunar eclipse is going to show you the cracks in your foundation, which is not a bad thing, right? I don't think it's going to be a situation where your foundation crumbles. I just feel like because the light is going to be so bright, you're going to be able to see the cracks in the foundation, which allows you to fix it, which allows you to plug those up, which allows you to do what needs to be done to sturdy that foundation. All right. So regardless of however this eclipse plays out for you, it will be enlightening. You're going to learn something you didn't know, something you didn't want to look at. The truth is going to be blaring in your face. Like I said, I've been seeing, it's almost like the signs I've been seeing are like neon billboards. They're so bright, you cannot even miss them. But here's the thing. You're going to have this information, but it's all up to you what you do with it. If you're trying to move forward, if you're trying to build a new future for yourself, structure a new future, you have to use that information constructively. Okay? So a lot of truth coming out. It's up to you what you do with it. But either way, this eclipse, hella enlightening. All right. The next up, we've got Mercury opposite Uranus. And how I always think about this transit is that you make plans, God laughs. It's just one of those things where the best laid plans don't go as planned. And many times that's because we co-create with God. We co-create with spirit. But a lot of times we feel like we have to shoulder all the heavy work ourselves. You know that a mountain needs to be moved, and you're at the base, like pushing your heart out, right? You're pushing as hard as you can. And spirit is like, what are you doing? Let me move it for you, and then you do the rest, right? And I feel like when it comes to certain things in our lives, particularly when it comes to things that we're trying to achieve, perhaps our life purpose, perhaps our passions in life, we haven't left enough room for spirit. And I feel like Mercury opposite Uranus reminds us to leave room for spirit. Okay. This transit also lends itself to like your mind running a mile a minute, flashes of insight. This could lead to like feelings of anxiety and nervousness, sort of that, when you just have that undercurrent of anxiety, like you know something's going to happen, but you don't quite know what it is. That's definitely Mercury opposite Uranus at work. This could be making discoveries. Again, with this going down on the same day as the lunar eclipse, this is almost like things are really going to be uncovered. All right. You're going to discover some wild shit about some people or some situations. Okay. There is this energy of socializing. Anytime you have Mercury in the mix, it's all about talking to people, communicating with people, relating to people. But with Uranus and your mind running a mile a minute, it almost lends itself to talking but not listening. So don't just have conversations just to hear yourself talk or to be a sounding board to someone and not have some sort of back and forth, right? Be mindful of listening, right? making it a conversation, not just like a spewing session. Okay. This transit also lends itself to trickery. Okay. It almost has a flavor of Mercury retrograde in a sense. Things like not necessarily working the best. Like, perfect example, I have these lights that I use to project this background, right? And it's two of them. The one on this side, working fine. This one wasn't. And I had to like flip the cord, like the cord to plug it in. I had to flip it in a different way so that it would turn on. So it's giving you the flavor of Mercury retrograde, but not the intensity. So keep that in mind if you're finding that electronics are not quite working the way you need them to, or things are glitching just a little bit. That's definitely Mercury opposite Uranus. Okay. But by and large, what you're going to want to do with this transit is keep an open mind. Again, because you're letting spirit in to assist you, to work with you, you're not going to know how things are going to go. So you have to keep an open mind. Don't be tied to any particular idea or any particular plan. Be flexible and adaptable. Okay. So yeah. So the next step, we've got the Sun conjunct Mercury. Okay. And this is actually giving us a little bit of good luck, good fortune, because anytime you have a planet conjunct the Sun, when it reaches a particular degree, it's called Cazimi. And Cazimi just means in the heart of the sun. And it's just a fortunate sort of placement for that planet. So by and large, the Sun conjunct Mercury may bring good news. It may bring surprising news that is good or positive. It may put, like, you may have to unexpectedly take a short trip, but it actually turns out to be a good thing. Someone may tell you something good that sort of warms your heart. You get some good news about something. You may make a sale. A negotiation may go well. Like, any of these things are up for grabs when you have that Sun Mercury Cazimi. Okay. You may also find that tomorrow may be a busy day. All right. You may be doing a lot, communicating with people a lot, lots of emails, text messages, all that good stuff. It's also good for sharing ideas, talking to people, being social. So keep that in mind with respect to tomorrow. All right. Now we move on to Wednesday. All right. So I want you to notice a pattern. All right. You look at the left side of the chart. You'll see the Sun, Mercury, and Venus. Because they're sort of riding through the sky arm in arm, they're going to be hitting the same aspects one after the other. So you'll see Venus square Saturn, then the Sun square Saturn, then Mercury square Saturn. You'll see Mercury opposite Uranus, Sun opposite Uranus, then Venus opposite Uranus. They're all going to be hitting the same aspects. And that's sort of the theme of this week into next week. So we've got the Sun opposite Uranus. Then we've got the Moon moving into Gemini. All right. So first up, we have the Sun opposite Uranus. So apart from surprises and sudden changes, Uranus is also about rebellion. So with the Sun opposite Uranus, there's something about feeling like you want to do something different, wanting to experience something new and exciting, okay? And wanting to be free in whatever that you're doing. It could also feel like wanting to be independent, wanting to be autonomous, just sort of rebelling from the status quo. That's the essence of Sun opposite Uranus. There's also, of course, like I said before, Uranus is all about sudden change, unexpected things. So expect the unexpected regardless. But if you feel like you want to do something new, do it. It may be challenging to get it done, not going to lie to you, but you're going to have that feeling to want to do something new. And I feel that you shouldn't ignore it. But keep an open mind, because you may have a plan to do something and it's just not going to come to pass the way that you expect. So that being said, try something new, but keep an open mind with respect to how it's going to unfold. Okay. This could also be like weird behavior or out of the ordinary behavior from yourself or people around you. So like be a little patient, have grace with yourself and with others, because people just may not be like their normal selves. They may be feeling erratic. They may be feeling not like themselves. They want to do something new. Like that feeling is going to pass over the next couple of days. So don't hold anybody to how they're acting this week, because I mean, everyone's going to be going through it. So everyone might not be in their right mind. Everyone may be feeling like they want to not be themselves. They feel like they want to escape. So don't hold anything to anyone. All right. And last thing I'll say about this transit is that this could, anytime you have Uranus, you also have the propensity for accidents. So please be careful, especially with anything electrical. Beware of minor accidents. Just be a little more vigilant. Thankfully, there's no aspect to Mars, so this isn't like a major accident or a pileup or some sort of fire or anything like that. But you could have some minor accidents with this transit, so definitely keep that in mind. All right. And then the moon is going to move into Gemini, and you're going to feel like you have ants in your pants. So while the moon was in Taurus, all you want to do is relax, chill, be in your sweats, and be lazy, right? After 2 days, you're going to feel like you had enough of that. And with the moon going into Gemini, you're going to feel like getting up, going out, talking to people. You're going to feel like you don't want to be isolated. You sort of want to be on the block, on the streets, talking to people, doing whatever it is that you do. Okay. This is when the moon is in Gemini, we get emotional satisfaction from learning new things, talking to people, being social, multitasking, thinking of plans, transacting business. All of that kind of stuff thrives when the moon is in Gemini. Now, because the moon is going to be in the waning gibbous phase, right? So we had that full moon lunar eclipse. The moon was at the full moon phase. And now it's going to go to the waning phase over the next 2 weeks. So this is about getting rid of what you don't need. Like, especially with the moon in Gemini, it sort of gives you a battery in your back, like literally like the Energizer Bunny, to just get rid of things you don't want, get rid of things you don't need. Anything that doesn't serve you, like you're just going to want to get rid of it. And the moon in Gemini is going to give you the mental capacity to do that. It's going to give you the feeling of wanting to multitask and learn new things and do things. So it's going to be a good time to do that. All right, so that's Wednesday. So now we move into Thursday. All right, so I said before, Mercury, Venus, and the Sun, because they're all riding through the sky arm in arm, they're going to be hitting the same planets. So earlier in the week, like today, we had Venus square Saturn. And then on Thursday, we're going to have Mercury square Saturn. And you'll see Mercury at the bottom left-hand side of the chart. And Saturn is going to be at the bottom right-hand side of the chart in maroon. And then we're going to have Venus trine Neptune. So Venus is right next to Mercury. And Neptune is in its home sign of Pisces. All right. So Mercury square Saturn. You know how I said when Venus was square Saturn, it's like many of your relationships are going to be experiencing stress, some delays or frustrations. With Mercury square Saturn, this is sort of plans being delayed. This can also be things like negative thinking, negative self-talk, trying to think of things and having a hard time, mental blocks, not being able to pay attention. All of those kind of things are sort of emblematic of Mercury square Saturn, okay? You're going to want to pay attention to details, although it may be hard to focus on them. It's not a great transit to do anything super important. Like if you have to sign a contract, if you have to undergo some sort of important business deal or negotiation, definitely consult someone before making any moves that could be permanent or substantial, because it just may be hard to wrap your mind around things or really understand what you're actually getting into. Okay. Like I said, and it's Mercury square Uranus, Mercury opposite Uranus, Mercury square Saturn. It has some of that flavor of Mercury retrograde. So keep that in mind. It's going to be hard. Remember I said before, people are not going to be feeling like themselves. They're going to want to rebel, and you shouldn't really take people at their word, right? This is especially true for Mercury square Saturn. So take what people say with a grain of salt. Don't hold anybody to anything. That's why you should definitely consult a professional if, you have to make any important decisions, any negotiations, all of that stuff. All right. Next up, this could also bring things like not the best news, a little bit of depression, loneliness, negativity, negative self-talk. Okay. So be easy on yourself and definitely be easy with others because everyone's sort of feeling this. Even though we're all expressing it in different ways, everyone's sort of feeling it. All right. And you're probably, I feel like when it comes to whatever you're dealing with, you're probably going to be seeing the worst of the situation. It's almost like your mind and your thoughts are going to be focused on what could happen, what could go wrong. It's another reason why it's important to not jump the gun and just sign on the dotted line or make any important decisions, because I feel like you're not going to be in the right mind space or in the right frame of mind to have a positive outcome, because you're just going to be nitpicking at what could go wrong and what's not working out. All right. So again, if you have to do anything important, consult somebody first who can get you to see things a bit clearly. All right. Then we also have Venus trine Neptune. Okay. And I like this because number one, it's a trine, which means it's a positive aspect. But number two, this is perfect for relaxation. It's perfect for meditation. It's perfect for if you're partnered up, sort of tapping into the love that you share or the feelings that your partner gives you as an escape from everything that we're feeling this week. Okay. This also allows you to tap into your creativity. So if you find that your day-to-day activities are really stressing you out, if you find that you're overly frustrated, this is a great time to sing, dance, pottery, paint. Anything that's creative is sort of going to get your mind off of everything that's going on. And it's going to allow you to escape for a bit. It's also great for like watching movies, entertaining people, visiting friends, maybe redecorating a little bit. Again, it's perfect for getting your mind off anything that's ailing you or anything that's frustrating you. Okay. It's also a good time for charity and philanthropy, sometimes donating your time, sometimes being of service to others sort of can also be an escape and helps you get your mind off of things and make you just feel good. By and large, what I love most about this transit is the fact that it just makes you feel good. In a time when you may be learning some weird or ugly truths about things, or you're just finding that you're like feeling negative or thinking negatively about life or about yourself, Venus trine Neptune allows you to be a bit optimistic, to escape via creativity, or to just tap into your spirituality. For some, this may be an important focus on your relationship to spirit, on your relationship to God. That's where you may find peace and harmony and a reprieve from all of the crazy energy that's going on. So that's something to look forward to on Thursday. All right. Then we get to Friday. Right. So like I said, we had Venus square Saturn. Then we had Mercury square Saturn. Then on Friday, we've got the Sun square Saturn. So you'll see the Sun at the right-hand side of the chart. Saturn is going to be at the upper part of the chart. And then we have the Moon moving into its home sign of Cancer. All right. So Sun square Saturn, if I had to boil it down to its essence, it's tests of character. It's almost like running a race and then someone trips you midway. You're just like, what the fuck, right? Like, it's just not going to feel good, but it's testing your character. It's building up things that you need within yourself to elevate, to get to that next level. Okay. It's going to feel bad because it's going to strike your ego. You know, you may be all in your ego with respect to where you're trying to go or what you're trying to do. And it's almost like the universe trips you up a bit. Maybe you have to humble yourself. Maybe that's one of the lessons that you need to learn. Maybe you need to learn how to do things in a different way, and spirit just kind of throws a monkey wrench in your plans. It's going to suck again because it's going to be a blow to your ego, whatever happens. Okay. But by and large, it is just tests. It's testing you. It's the universe testing you. And I remember I said before, Saturn represents duties and responsibilities. And this is going to be like, let's say you have to, just a weird example, let's say you have to run an obstacle course and it's crazy. I think I was having this conversation with my sister last week about that show Wipeout, right? Where you've got to like run through a gauntlet. Things are like hitting you in the face. Like that's sort of how Sun square Saturn is. But your job is to finish the race. So if it's your responsibility to finish something, you have to see it through, no matter how difficult or challenging things get as you're doing it. And that's sort of the test of character. Saturn is all about diligence. It's all about hard work. And if you quit every time life hands you an obstacle, you're not building character. And I feel like the Sun square Saturn is going to, again, test you so that you do build that character. You may feel like you are coming under pressure, particularly as it pertains to work. So a boss, a superior, a manager, someone who's in a position of authority, you may feel like they're being unduly hard on you, like they're really putting you through some shit, or they're making your job extra difficult or adding extra responsibilities. They may even be like criticizing you, rejecting you, and in like extreme cases, like even maybe abusing you like emotionally or verbally. And I'm hoping not physically, right? But again, it's like the lesson is finishing your responsibilities, finishing the race, handling your responsibilities in the face of all of these things that are going on. Okay. And the one thing I hate about this transit that really sucks is like, you feel like, you know, you're running the race, or you're going through the obstacle course and you are dodging all of these things, and you get to the end and you feel like you're going to get that recognition and reward, and you're just not. Don't expect to be praised. Don't expect a job well done or a pat on the back. It's like, all you're going to hear is, well, this was your responsibility anyway. So why am I congratulating you for something you should have been doing? Even though you feel like you went through hell to get it done, don't expect praise. Don't expect recognition. It's just about getting the job done. And by and large, these obstacles, these challenges, they're not for no reason. Okay. Again, it's building character. So even though you finished the race without any recognition, you probably undoubtedly learned a lot about either yourself or the situation. So take those lessons, because you're going to need them later on. All right. Then we have the moon moving into its home sign of Cancer. So we went from Taurus, where we were all about relaxing and chilling, and we went to Gemini, where we wanted to do all the things and we wanted to multitask and learn and be social. And Cancer is like, all right, I put myself out there. Now I just want to come home. Cancer is all about peace and tranquility. It's all about belonging, feeling safe. Moon in Cancer can also be a very moody and sensitive transit. So you may be extra sensitive, extra moody. You may just want to isolate. You just may want to hang out at home, spend time with family, doing things around the house, spending time with family. Those are sort of the typical things that Moon in Cancer makes us feel good about. Okay. Again, it could be pretty emotional. You could be very sensitive. And, you know, if you're sensitive or moody, I know me personally, when I feel that way, that's sort of when I withdraw. So many of you may be feeling the same thing as well. Okay. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Now, because the moon is going to be in the waning gibbous phase, you know, the waning phase is all about letting go of what we don't need. This is going to have to do with emotions. There's letting go of certain emotions we don't need. If something or someone in our life doesn't fulfill our basic emotional needs, and by basic emotional needs, I mean like love, acceptance, shelter, protection, it's probably time to let those things go. And by withdrawing and sort of processing your emotions, you're going to realize what needs to stay and who or what needs to go. All right. So that's Friday. So now we move on to Saturday. Right. So Saturday, we've got Mercury trine Neptune. So you'll see Mercury at the right-hand side of the chart. Then you've got Neptune at the left-hand side of the chart. And this is also a feel-good sort of transit. All right. So this is the transit that's really going to get you to get creative. I feel like your mind is just going to be wired towards creativity and sort of taking you away from the frustrations and the obstacles that the rest of the week has been bringing. So it stimulates your creativity, it stimulates your imagination. It gets you to see the bigger picture. So again, it's not one of those transits where you want to do a lot of technical work. If you have things where you have to really pay attention to the details, you're going to find it hard to focus on that because you just want to feel good. You just want to see the bigger picture. You just want to work on the big plan, not the it's almost like Mercury trine Neptune allows you to set 5-year goals, 10-year goals, but it's not about planning for the week ahead. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. It's a great time for creativity. So poetry, writing, music, a lot of those things thrive under this transit. It's a great time for acting as well. So if you are an actor, if anything having to do with acting, anything having to do with writing is really going to thrive with Mercury trine Neptune. So over the weekend, get out a pen and paper and just start writing basically. Another thing that I really like about this transit is that it allows for communication in a softer way and almost in a non-verbal way. This is like, it's more about what's being felt rather than being said. Okay. It's a softer way of communication. And to be honest, we need it. I feel like everything else is going on in the week, especially with those squares to Saturn. A lot of harsh words, a lot of negative thinking. Mercury trine Neptune allows for some softness. It allows for some nonverbal communication, allows for communication that feels good, that's effective but soft. And I really like that for us. And I feel like we really need it. Mercury trine Neptune is also about like telepathy. It's also about psychic abilities. So all of those will be enhanced. Expect your dreams to be very vivid and clear, delivering messages to you. So a lot can be gained with this particular transit. It's also a time for escaping via books, via movies, anything that allows you to expand your mind and escape reality is going to be great, okay? But I have to say, with these Neptune trines, if you have addictive behaviors, particularly if you have if you tend to overdrink, if you tend to gravitate towards drug use, if you tend to like hallucinogens or anything that allows you to escape your mind, anytime you have a Neptune transit, those addictive behaviors are enhanced, especially with everything else going on this week. You may really want to escape. You may want to drink a little more, get drunk. You may want to get super high. You may want to escape via hallucinogens or psychedelics or anything like that. And it's not to say that you shouldn't. You just definitely need to do things in moderation. Anything that can take you out of your body permanently, it may not be the best thing to do at this time. So definitely keep that in mind. Yeah, and that's pretty much Mercury trine Neptune. I love it because it just adds a little softness to everything else that's going on this week. All right. And then finally we get to Sunday. Okay. And on Sunday we have Venus sextile Pluto. So you'll see Venus at the right-hand side of the chart, the upper right-hand side of the chart. And then we have Pluto at the upper left-hand side of the chart. So now remember during the Learn Astrology section, I talked about sextiles. Let me bring that up again. So a sextile is when planets are 60 degrees apart, and it represents latent talents, opportunities, and assistance. Okay. So, let's get to Sunday. There we go. So you'll see Venus sextile Pluto. It's opportunities, particularly as it relates to love or money. Okay. When it comes to love, it's going to give you this energy of wanting to be booed up, of wanting to be in a companionship on a very intense level. It's almost like wanting to bond with someone on a serious level. Now, because it's a sextile, this isn't something that's going to happen automatically. But if the situation presents itself where you can be vulnerable with someone, where you can really bond with someone on a deep level, it's sort of like the astrology sets the stage for that. So if you're looking to get more intimate with someone, Venus sextile Pluto is the perfect transit for you. It also lends itself to obsession, though. The thing about Pluto, it's possessiveness, it's obsession. That's sort of the darker side of that Pluto energy. So if you are obsessed with someone, you're only going to feel it 10 times stronger. So I don't know what you need to do, but please don't engage in any stalking behavior or anything that's really creepy, because this transit definitely lends itself to that. Any new romances that begin under this transit can feel amazing. It's almost like a whirlwind experience that could possibly change your life. So if you're meeting someone around this time, if you're just newly linking up with someone, you have the opportunity, right? Because it's a sextile. You have the opportunity to really get close and really have a life-changing kind of relationship. So that's definitely something to look forward to. All right. When it comes to money, this brings opportunities for money on a deeper level, especially because we're talking about Venus. Venus is in Scorpio and Pluto is in Capricorn. So this could definitely be opportunities to pay down debt. It could be opportunities to save. It could be opportunities to get funding for your business. In a very substantial way. Like, for instance, the first thing I'm hearing right now is like grants. If you're looking to secure a grant for your business or your like nonprofit organization, it's going to be a great time for that. But the key is going to be, don't just say what people feel. Don't just say, or don't just put on the application what you think people want to hear. This is a time for you to be vulnerable. It's a time for you to be authentic and really show yourself, really explain your story, get people to understand you from a deeper level. And that's going to allow you to get these grants or to get money from other people. But by and large, I feel like it's going to be great for paying down debt. So take that as you will. Moving back to relationships. It could be a time where, so this transit sort of lends itself to affairs, secret romances. So if you have a sneaky link, if you've got someone that you don't want people to know about, perfect transit for that. Do you? Okay. Privacy may be a concern, even if it's not in relationships. You just may want to keep things private from other people. You may want to keep some secrets. If you have a secret and you just need to tell somebody, I feel like it's one of those transits where you can kind of tell someone something and they won't necessarily tell the rest of the world. Now, that depends on a lot of other things. This doesn't give you blank license to just tell people your business and they won't say anything. But if you're looking to keep a secret, this transit is definitely for you. And the last thing I'll say about this transit is, like, when it comes to how someone feels about you, or when it comes to expressing your feelings, I feel like you're going to leave no stone unturned. Like, if you want to know how someone feels about you, I feel like you're almost going to be obsessed with trying to figure out how they feel about you, trying to get to the bottom of how they feel, what their true and authentic feelings are. So again, it kind of gives that, it's kind of giving a little obsessive. So you're going to want to, it teeters the line between obsession and like crazy stalker. Okay. So keep that in mind, whether you're on the giving end or the receiving end. All right. So my loves, that has been this week's edition of the weekly Astro Forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you can use going forward into this new week. If you want to know more about my products and services, all of those links are in the description box below, so don't forget to check those out. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you nothing but the best for this upcoming week, and I will see you next time. All right? Take care, my loves.